Hello, and thank you for joining me today. I'm so excited that you're here listening. My name is Gina Marie DePrima, and I am ready to share with you my perspective as an empath, energy healer, and divorce and family law attorney. My hope and my sincere goal and intention is to raise your awareness and create a movement that changes the paradigm and the way that we think about relationship breakup. I want to empower you and everybody to know that they can divorce with heart and consciously co-parent. In my 15 years or so of representing children and parents on both sides of the fence and my personal experience in these areas, I've been a student and an observer of how we handle relationship breakdowns and divorce and separation and custody and parenting disputes. And what I've learned and what I've observed is more often than not, we cause more harm than good. We act in ways that are self-sabotaging. We act in ways that create negative emotional baggage when we're going through these difficult, trying times. And I want to change that. You see, I think that we can look at these times in our lives that cause us such emotional pain that, for lack of a better word, seem to turn our world upside down. I think that we can look at these times and use them for good. I think we can use them as a catalyst for something better. I think we can use these moments that seem to shake us up anyways, and instead of getting shaken down and beaten down, I think we can turn in, and I think that we can go back to our hearts. We can find and create love and kindness and self-healing and self-love, okay, to build stronger foundations. Because you're going to go on, we all move on. But the question is, what or who do you want to be in that future? How do you want to come out of this breakup? Ideally, you want to have a relationship with your other parent or even with yourself that is more cooperative, more in balance, more whole. And I believe that the way we do that is by going back to where we started, and that's divorcing with heart. It's an idea of healing and clearing emotional pain instead of getting caught up in the negative energy, in the negative cycles to just perpetuate the anger, the competition, the battle, I guess, that can ensue. So I know and expect and already anticipate that some of my ideas and my advice and my perspective on issues may be shocking to you at times. And you may initially, at least, disagree or find it somewhat controversial. But I'm going to tell you that it's supposed to feel that way. That's my intent. Because, if we're going to keep on thinking the way we're thinking and acting the way that we're acting and doing the things that we're doing, what's going to happen? Nothing. We're going to keep getting what we've been getting and receiving what we've been receiving. There would be no change. So I do want to get you thinking. I do want the wheels to be turning. I don't want this to just seem like the same old thing that you've heard before. I want this to be something new, something better, something brighter, and I hope to inspire you and inspire a conversation. So with that in mind, it would truly mean so much to me to hear your comments, your questions, or any topics that you'd want me to discuss in the future. And you can do this by emailing me, GinaMarie@DePrimaLaw.com, or finding my Facebook page, DePrima Law, and sending me a Facebook message. And please, if you like what you hear, Spread the word. This podcast is going to be on Stitcher. It's going to be on iTunes. It'll be archived there. Spread it. Let your friends and your family members know. Let's change the dialogue around this area that is so prevalent in our society. Let's live better lives. Let's help each other. So with that, I'm going to dig into this week's episode, which is a doozy. It is inspired by a woman that I just have so much respect for and so much admiration for. Ronelle, you know who you are. You asked for this. So here we go. This is how can we consciously co-parent with a narcissist? And if you don't know what a narcissist is, go ahead and look it up. Google it. You'll find out. I'm not a psychologist, but what I can tell you from my perspective, a narcissist is basically somebody that thinks the entire world revolves around them. What they say is what goes, regardless of the consequences. And the only feelings that ever matter are those of the narcissist. And, you know, how this plays out often in the parenting or the co-parenting relationship, which that in and of itself sounds a bit like an oxymoron. It's particularly difficult and challenging to have to co-parent, which suggests cooperative parenting, with a narcissist, but I know that many of you are in this position. Anyhow, a narcissist, what it looks like in the arena of co-parenting is somebody that just wants all the control at all times. This is the parent that constantly procrastinates, never communicates, disregards the schedule at every turn. If the exchange time is supposed to be Sunday at 8, they don't care. They might drop the kids off Sunday at 9 or Sunday at 5. They don't care. It doesn't matter. And in the meantime, they're not going to text you or call you or tell you that they're running late or that they're going to be early. Why? Because they feed off of your emotions. That's why narcissism is all about control. Their breath, their air, their water, what they need in a way to survive is your negative reaction, like a bully out of control. So that's one example, the exchange times. Another way it could show up is a narcissist who may be pretending to be somewhat cooperative or conciliatory and trying to negotiate. For an example, you know, the one parent may offer the other parent to have the children on a special day or holiday or birthday, where in exchange then they of course would have the children on that similar holiday or birthday or whatever. And this will seem very reasonable and very productive. And of course, generally that will work for most people without question. But in this case, what a narcissist will do is they'll say, sure, you can have the kids for your birthday. Let me have the kids for mine. They'll enjoy their birthday with the kids. And when your special day comes up, instead of allowing you and honoring that agreement, what they'll do is they'll make special plans for the kid. They'll take the kid to Chuck E. Cheese. They'll take the kid on a ski trip. They'll plan a wonderful vacation. Whatever it is, it's going to be something that would be something that your child would really love, really find interesting, really want to do, because that's the point. You see, they're not going to tell you that, you know, the plan has to change or anything along those lines. There'll be no communication. You see, they're just pulling the strings here. What they'll do instead is they will maneuver and manipulate through the children to put you in a position where then you have to decide, what do you do? How do you react? Do you deny your child that opportunity to go somewhere where, of course, they really want to go because it's your day? You see, this is what they do. They set you up. They control you. Okay? they feed off of your reaction. They feed off of the fact that they have that power to invoke such a reaction over you. They revel in it. That's their thing. That's their lifeline. All right? And it's really truly sad, because in reality, and I'm not a psychologist by any means, but in my opinion, in reality, where this comes from, where this behavior is likely rooted, is the fact that their emotional self, their emotional needs were never met. They don't know what it's like to feel love or be loved. So they know manipulation and control. So the question becomes then, what can you do to better manage this relationship? What can you do to co-parent with a narcissist? How can you react? What can you do to experience this in a better way, in a more heart-centered way, in a way that doesn't leave you broken, but builds you up and leaves you strong? And what I'm going to suggest really comes down to the simple truth of flipping the script or changing the script. What I mean is, you know that they are acting in this way because they are trying to get a certain reaction out of you. That's what they want. That's what they're after. Manipulate and control your emotions. So if you respond with anger, frustration, upset, hurt, any of that, that's what they're after. Okay, so it's hard. It's a challenge maybe, but what I'm suggesting is responding with something different, changing your emotions. I believe that we can take control and power over our actions, our thoughts, and our emotions. And that just because somebody does something else and doesn't perform according to our expectations, no matter how justified we may be, we do not have to react in a manner that shows upset. And what I mean is, it's perfectly reasonable to expect an exchange time at 7 o'clock when that's what your court papers say. That's not an unreasonable expectation. It's perfectly reasonable to expect to have time with your children on your birthday if that's what the agreement was. It's not unreasonable. But although you can be justified in your anger and your frustration were you to choose those emotions, and although you can complain or discuss it with your other family members, your friends, your neighbors, your priest, whoever, and they may all agree with you, because at the end of the day, you're probably justified in feeling that way. The truth is, you're not helping yourself. You're not helping yourself. You are contributing, in a sense, to the problem. You're contributing to the sense of to the problem because you are producing the air that allows that narcissist to breathe, that continues their behavior because they enjoy it so much. The more of the reaction they get out of you, the more they're going to play with you. You see? And not only are you contributing to the problem in that way, you're not helping yourself because you're taking yourself down. And what I mean is as every time that we are feeling low or thinking angry thoughts or going over it in our minds about how could he or she have done da 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 da, and rehashing the story and bringing our hearts and our minds back to that place of anger and frustration. The more that you do that and the more that you cycle through those negative emotions, the more damage you're causing yourself. And you're wasting your time and you're wasting your energy and you're putting your focus on things that aren't making you feel joy, aren't making you feel happiness. And at the end of the day, isn't that what we really want to feel? Don't we really want to feel the higher level emotions of happiness, joy, peace, laughter, harmony? I think so. So why waste our time circling over anger and frustration and impatience? We don't have to. We have a choice and we have control over that. So I think that step one is to recognize that. To recognize that you do not need to be the puppet on the strings. That the other parent, the narcissist, he can think, and I don't mean he in any type of negative way. It's just going to come out that way for me at this point because those are the examples I have running in my head. So, the narcissist can think of themselves, or you can think of them as a puppeteer, but you don't have to be the puppet on the strings. You can choose, select, and lean into something different. And it's got to be something opposite. And I'm going to suggest 3 things. Gratitude, compassion, and if you can't get there, then maybe curiosity. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But you've got to send out the opposite in a more powerful, higher level emotion. Because you see, the more that you change your response, then 1, you're taking the power back and you're taking control over the situation. But 2, the more likely it's going to be that you're going to experience a different reality. Because either they're not going to continue to react that way, well, because they're not getting what they need out of you, or they're going to continue to react that way, but it's not going to affect you in the same way. It's not going to take you down. It's not going to frustrate you and upset you and create this terrible head spin that probably happens. Consider it like this. This is sort of a visual that came to my mind when I was trying to prepare this. Consider it like this. Excuse me. You have a red car and you have a black car on the highway, side by side. They're going the same speed. Say 45 miles per hour. You're in the red car. He's in the black car. When you're going the same speed, you're kind of vibrating at the same level. You're going the same speed. You're putting out the same type of energy and the same type of feelings. As the wheels on the black car are spinning and kicking up dirt and stones and, whatever, the velocity, the air, against the red car who's right there next to it is feeling all the dirt and the stones and the air and the velocity. And the red car is shooting it back because they're going the same speed. Consider, it's like the black car spitting out the anger and the competition and all of that sort of stuff. And the red car is absorbing it and feeling it because they're there together going the same speed. Okay, now, what happens if the red car says, I don't want to go 45 miles per hour anymore. I'm going to go 65 miles per hour. I'm going to speed up. I'm going to press on the gas and I'm going to go forward. And they change their speed. Well, if one car speeds up, they go way down the road, right? Now, whatever dirt and dust and stones and wind that black car is kicking up, that red car is not there next to him anymore. Doesn't feel it. It's not in the dust anymore. They're way ahead. It doesn't matter. So the black car can keep going at the same speed, doing the same thing, and the red one doesn't know it's sped up. And how did it get so far ahead? How did it press the gas, go from 45 to 65? By doing something different, changing the response, changing the emotional response so that their vibration, their emotional response is no longer matching that of the black car. So they're not going to respond with anger, frustration, all of that stuff, because that's a match. They're going to respond from a heart-centered place of love. Not meaning that they're going to love. Those are different things. But they're going to respond from a more whole, heart-centered, universal place. And doing that is going to catapult that red car forward. The black car can catch up only if they start matching and producing the same emotions. You see, so imagine it like that. It's like the two cars are magnetized and aligned when they're doing the same thing, going the same speed, or vibrating at the same rate. And it's the emotions that control that. So if you want to respond in the same way as the narcissist, then go ahead and keep driving 45 miles per hour. If you want something better, then you need to change the response. That'll put you ahead. So, I know it's a challenge. I know it can be difficult. And I think one way of doing that is to sit down in advance of any type of exchange of the children, in advance of any type of expected communication or anything, coming up. But sit down in your own time, get out a journal, and do a couple of things. First, think about the type of parenting relationship that you want to have. Think about the type of parent that you want your children to see. Think about, how do you want your children to speak about you when they're, talking to their children later on in life, or when they're talking to their future spouse later on in life, or their boyfriend or their girlfriend? How do you want your children to feel when they're on the soccer field and they know that mom and dad are both out there watching? Or how do you want your child to feel when they're up on that stage in the middle of their class playing their instrument, knowing that mom and dad are both out there in the audience somewhere? How do you want your child to feel when they're on that graduation stage accepting their diploma? Do you want them to feel ease? Do you want them to be calm? Do you want them to feel excitement? Or do you want them to be nervous, full of anxiety and possible upset because they don't know what mom and dad might do, or how they might act, because all they're used to seeing is conflict and arguing and power struggles? So think about that, and think about how you want to feel. How you want to feel as a parent. What does parenting mean to you? And try to form that into your mission, into your intent. And if you can boil it down into one word or a short phrase, I think that could be so powerful, because that could be what you click back to, what you need in that moment that the other parent, your narcissist parent, drops the kids off an hour late or an hour early without notice. You need something to click back to in that moment, so you turn off the autopilot and turn on, your selected emotion. So really think about it. Get into the feelings of it and set your intention. I think that's one. Another thing you can do, and this is something that you do in advance again, think about some of your past experiences that you've had. The times that you felt like you were just being controlled and manipulated, and, the times that you could chalk up to not so good moments in your parenting history based on what happened and your reaction to it. Look at those moments and try to look at them differently. Try to look at the narcissist parent differently. Now, this can be tough, but I think when I suggest to you gratitude, what I'm saying is try to go back and reframe whatever happened. Take a look at it from a different perspective. Maybe you take a look at it from your child's perspective, but try to take a different perspective and find what can you be thankful for. If you were to look at those moments, isn't there something that you could have been thankful for? And I really truly believe that there is, because I really truly believe that all things happen for a reason. And I know that it may sound as just another cliche or pie in the sky or Pollyanna-ish, but it really isn't. I mean, really truly, I think a lot of times that life can be like a good movie, and things happen in that movie that you don't understand until you get to the end. And then you're like, now I get it. Now it makes sense, right? It's the hindsight. Well, I think life is like that. We don't always understand where we're at or why we're there and why things are happening. But if we can just trust and believe that they're happening for our own good and our highest good, I think that can help to shape and change perspectives. So try to do that and think, okay, he was an hour late. At least I got to have an extra hour to myself. I don't know. I got to throw that load of laundry in. If it comes early, at least you got extra time with your children. If your day was taken, if your birthday celebration was taken, yeah, it was taken. But you'll have another day. Imagine your child at least got to enjoy Chuck E. Cheese or the ski trip or whatever it is, and that's okay. Don't be jealous. Don't be angry. Don't be upset about that. Don't be fearful of that. We talked about that last time. It's okay, because you'll have that opportunity with your child as well. And you're building a stronger foundation. You're allowing your children to see and experience joy and happiness with both parents. And that's good. That's good. You're creating stronger little beings. So try to find some way to find that little nugget of positivity and be thankful. Okay? Another way to get there, or another part of this process, is to don't see the person as that, he's such a jerk, or the this or the that, and all the memories flood to your mind, and or that particular situation that happened. Don't just get sucked in and focused on how you didn't get your needs met or your expectations, how it didn't work out, how you didn't get what you deserved, regardless of how right you are. We already discussed that. But don't see it that way. Instead, look deeper. Look deeper and try to see the person's soul, their soul self, their real self, their true self, that part of them that's just like you. Because we really are all one. I don't want to get too, I don't know what the word is, metaphysical right now, but we really are. We all get up in the morning, we all go to bed at night. We all have our ups, we all have our downs, we all have our disappointments, we all have our moments of happiness. We all have our struggles. We all have the things that we like, we all have the things that we don't like, and most of all, none of us are perfect. And we all make mistakes. The other thing is we all perceive life and react to life through like these special designer glasses, and each of us has our own unique pair. So as much as we think that we know what another person is thinking, feeling, etc., I don't know if we truly do. But try to see past how that person is behaving in that moment and try to see that deeper part of them, their soul part of them. Try to see their heart. At one point in time, that's all you saw, right? Remember that in the beginning? The beginning of the relationship when everything was good and ooey gooey, juicy, fun. So it's there, and that's why I know you can do this. And I think when you do that and you look at the person on a different level, I think that you will find this well of compassion inside of you. And you'll realize maybe what I was saying before, that, this person's really only acting that way because they're in pain, because they're hurt, because their emotional needs aren't being met, because they don't have love, because there's a lack of love that they've experienced. And I think you'll find this sense of compassion inside. And if you do, just focus on that and feel that sense of compassion. And this again is in advance when you're, not when you're in the face of the person, but feel it and practice that. And even imagine yourself kind of sending the person this sort of remote feeling. You can visualize them in your mind, and you can just sort of visualize yourself sending them, not a hug necessarily. I know a hug might be too far for you, but if you want to consider it as a color, I do that sometimes, like color bursts. A burst of color, of whatever color you think compassion might be, and see it drench their body all over. The point is you're shifting the energy when you do this. You're shifting the emotions, you're shifting the thoughts, you're shifting those patterns. And when you shift those patterns, you're breaking them up to create something better and something different. Feel compassion and gratitude, and you send them with your mind energetically, as you send them these feelings, you're kind of just imagining it. You're helping yourself and you're healing yourself, because the more you put that out there for them, the more you're going to receive that. Because how you treat other people is how you treat yourself. You will never receive what you don't give. And I'm not suggesting that you're going to necessarily get that back in return from that person, that it's necessarily a one-to-one relationship. Okay? In fact, I'm not saying that. But you will get back. You will reap what you sow. You will find it in other areas. And who doesn't want that? Who doesn't want to know that they're accepted, that they're appreciated, that other people can have compassion? We all do. So you fill in the gaps in yourself, and you raise your vibration. You speed up your car. You go a little faster, and you no longer align to that negativity. And as you do that, you're changing the pattern. If you can't get there, at least you go to curiosity, wonderment. When you're so curious. And it's not always just the curiosity of the analysis of what happened, but it's the curiosity of what's to come. I wonder how this is going to shape the future. I wonder what's going to happen. I wonder how else I can respond. I wonder what other possibilities there are for this situation. I wonder. And pray. Ask God. Ask who you believe in or what you believe in to help you and assist you and be there to give you that strength and that courage. Now, these are kind of things that you do in advance. And the more times you do this or you practice this and you go into it, the stronger you're going to get. And the easier it's going to be for you to respond this way in the moment. Because it's in the moment where things really count. It's in that moment where your reaction and that emotional choice that you make can make or break your present and your future. That's where memories are created. It's in those moments. So you really want to strengthen this muscle of compassion and changing your perspective and gratitude on this if you can. So you can make different choices in that moment and really hone in on your parenting intention. So in that moment when the kids are dropped off, you can lean into, you can choose, and you can select something different. It can be a different choice of words, hopefully, that comes from a different place, a more heart-centered place. It can just be a non-reaction, no reaction, because you know inside, though, it's coming from a place of peace. Whatever it is, it's got to be different. And it has to come from that place of wholeness and that place of peace. Because just like when we teach our children, to ignore a bully, because if you ignore a bully, they'll stop. That's true, but only to a certain extent. That bully's only going to stop so long as they're not sensing any kind of a reaction from you. Same with a narcissist. If they sense any bit of a reaction, that they had some control over you, it's just going to feed the fire. So even if you're choosing gratitude and you want to express some sort of sentiment of thankfulness, it can't be sarcastic. It can't be like this cross current of, oh, thank you, but really I'm not happy at all because okay? You want to cut the puppet strings. Don't be the puppet. Take control. Choose your reactions. Choose your emotions. Choose something higher, something greater. And again, you do this for yourself. I'm not in any way suggesting that you are a doormat here. You do this for yourself because you will feel better. When you are feeding yourself with love and compassion and kindness, and you're looking at things from that kind of a perspective, you will feel better. And when you feel better, your children will feel better. Your friends will feel better. It will spread like wildfire. Think about it. Because the same is true when you're feeling angry. So you choose where you want to stay. Okay? Because again, I always say this. This isn't just another day in your life. This is your life. Your life. Choose how you want to experience it. As a practical matter, when you're trying to parent with a narcissist, it's best to communicate in writing. Text or email is fine. It's also best to not respond right away. The reason being, again, is because the trick is you need to take the emotions out of it, and you need to ignore the emotional daggers that might be being thrown at you. You need to communicate like a reporter, just the facts, nothing but the facts. Report the facts, receive the facts. Filter out the emotional BS. Because again, it's gasoline on a fire. It's giving the narcissist breath, water. It's allowing them to live and survive, and you're playing into the game. This is a tough one. I hope I've stirred some thoughts, emotions. I hope I've brought you somewhere. I hope I've shifted your perspective and you found something that you can hold on to that can help you in the future for your sake and for the sake of your children, because that's what this is about. Again, comment, share, email me, Facebook message me at DePrima Law on Facebook. Let your friends and family know. And if you are interested in working with me one-on-one in some private sessions that I like to call energy power sessions, where we're going to look at your specific issue, struggle, relationship problem, and try to look at it from a different perspective, try to shift the energy around. I'm going to try to help you gain your power, going to help you align with your purpose. It's very intuitive. We'll work one-on-one together. And if you're interested in that, let me know. In fact, I've blocked off a day, the Monday before Valentine's Day. And the first 5 people to book with me that day are going to receive a session on me. Complimentary, totally complimentary. And we're going to work together. We're going to make things happen for you. We're going to get you aligned back with your soul purpose, feeling good, building things up. So let's do it. I wish all of you much peace, happiness, joy, courage, because I know what we were talking about, what we discussed here today, it takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of courage to act in new ways. It takes a lot of courage to set an example for our children and show our children that we love them more than we dislike the other parent. And I'm laughing because I know that's a saying that's commonly said, but it really is true. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I can't wait to hear from you.